Hello and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. I'm Luce and once again recording tonight. We have the next part of the Yokohoi storyline, so it's time to continue. Seems pleased with how working is coming along. Well, most of it anyway. Your work thus far has been greatly appreciated, Coda. Each time I look upon our progress, I'm impressed at how anew at everyone's diligence. In fact, we've already moved to our next step, building the stonemason's workshop. It'll be essential to restoring the breathless altar to its former grandeur. Each stone that was swept away must be made whole again, in the traditional Yokoi fashion, no less. Such is the way of our ceremonial spaces, and since transporting so much stone would only result in broken echo and sore backs, the workshop will be our most vital project yet. I've entrusted its construction to a skilled mason named Gerzor, and the work is proceeding apace until an incident occurred. I have yet to hear the details, but it seems progress has stalled. I mean to go and speak with him and be grateful if you'd accompany me. Might be eager to solve whatever problem awaits us we tackle together. Sounds good to me. You know, last time I mentioned that I wasn't enjoying space exploration, but I did like the, Occult Crescent. I genuinely don't know why, honestly. Both are about repetitive tasks. I mean, I guess you do have to move around to actively do fighting, but I mean, you still have rotations with crafting. And in some, well, no, I do like the red alerts in Cosmic Exploration, which are under a time limit, whereas the others are just kind of there. Although, granted, you get only get tiny snippets of progress towards the relics, so I don't know. But I guess the same could be said at Occult Crescent, since even if I'm still working on jobs, phantom jobs and gear, but those are still just tiny snippets of bigger stuff. Although I guess they do have something coming at a bit more of a brisk pace, I guess. Although I guess I'd probably like Cosmic Exploration a lot more if the fates there actually gave experience towards Relic or whatever. I don't know. Here we are, Coda. This is Gerzor, and as you can see, he's quite distraught. My words do not seem to reach him. I do not know what's happened, only he's intent on leaving. Could you please soothe him? There. Apologies for ignoring you before. I was panicked and barely aware of my surroundings. I should probably explain why. While I was going about my tasks, I caught sight of one of the snow spirits. It pranced about playfully as approached and then pelted me with icy magic. I managed to flee before being impaled on a frozen spear, but now that I've seen the extent of their wrath, I cannot risk my life working here. I warned everyone to be wary, but it seems I failed to convey just how dangerous they could be. While I understand the fear, this attack only emphasizes how crucial it is for us to complete the restoration. For that, we need his expertise. Could you come with me to Warlor's Echo to convince him to return? There must be a way to sway him. Aw, crap. Am I gonna have to build the whole thing myself? I guess since I'm Weaver, I'll have to stitch it together very, very slowly. And yeah, I've got these 3 ready to turn immediately upon completion, and then afterward I'll do the 3 more that unlock here. Should be a nice burst towards the next level. The first few are pretty quick, so it shouldn't be too long, but the latter ones are usually a little while. My crafters all use Elto, who has the mount. I felt it just felt appropriate for other crafters to get them. I guess I could make a different one, like how all my combat jobs use a different one, but I don't know. It would make use of the fact I have a decent mount supply, but they aren't all made equal as far as my eyes go. So I guess we'll have to see. Oh, I remember you. Apologies, but if you mean to convince me to climb back, I'm afraid I must refuse. Why'd you let the spirits get close to begin with? I thought it was already mentioned they were quite dangerous. It was as I said, the spirits seemed inviting, but then their mood turned foul so quickly. Interesting. They specifically lured him in? But I understand now. If I was taken by surprise, others might as well. That's precisely why we must restore the altar, isn't it? Yeah, I'm afraid so, buddy. Yes, I understand your point. Yet the memory of this terrible moment sends a chill down my spine that keep my legs firmly planted here. I understand your feeling, Gerzor. I feel him as well, yet Dartogor was courageous in the face of all that, but so must be we. Dartogor, the one who lived in the mountains before the avalanche. Yes, she once told me the spirits had been there since ancient times and wrought calamity upon any who dared approach upon their home. When the forebears settled, they were battered by avalanches, snowstorms, until they performed the rite of the pact for the very first time. Ever since, the ritual and its altar performed have served as a foundation for the peaceful coexistence of the spirits. Dartogor bore that responsibility alone for many years, keeping disaster at bay. Yet she is with us no longer, and someone must follow in her footsteps. I must follow. You take on this burden, even knowing the full well the danger it poses. Dartogor would have wanted it this way. When she would descend from her home, she would stay with me. I treasure each and every one of those memories. You must really see how Rokoturta and the other spirits frolic during the ritual. You'd never see how they could you'd never think they could easily just bury us all under a hail of snow. The pact is all that protects us from that fate, and soon I shall be its sole inheritor. Although I am young still, perhaps it is time to begin looking for a pupil. Oh, I know, it could be you, Farfar. Haha, I jest. It was our final conversation. On the way back, she suffered a terrible accident. Had we kept the memory of the pact alive in Warlord's echo, had we maintained the roads leading to and from the altar, Dartogor may still be with us. Her loss was a tragedy of indifference. Yet the memory of her devotion gives me courage. That and the presence of Coda here, who bravely stood before Valley Garmonda. That Coda? Technically, I'm also the one who took out, the big giant snake in Shalawani, but that one's actually kind of interesting. A lot of people were unsure that it even existed for a lot of the Fate missions, but so it was working a lot more subtle than Valley Garmonda. But if the lore is accurate, then it actually might have been just as powerful as Valley Garmonda, which is kind of interesting to think about. It was just as powerful, but it's because it was much more low-key, it didn't, it was much more low-key. It did not attract attention. Some of the world bosses are actually quite interesting. It's just a shame it's easy to miss a lot of the lore around it, since it's often tied to the generic yellow quests or the fate quest of the area, which not everyone reads. Technically, I also took out Arkveld, who went toe-to-toe with the giant snake, but that one's debatable on how canon it is. You traveled from across the salt and risked life and limb for Thrall. If you can do that for us, I should not balk at doing the same, but I'm no fighter. The spirits will attack again. What should I do? You can flee to warmth. You will be safe there. I did, after all, build it myself. That may indeed be the wisest course of action. The spirits would loathe to enter a warm room, and their will may falter upon seeing so many Yokoi gathered together. I can manage that. Very well, Farfar. I shall return to the hands. Yet before I do, I must confess, I was so flustered during the flight, I dropped my tools. They are lost to the snows now, so I'm afraid I cannot work without them. Oh, you can see that, right? Surely a set of stonemason tools, equipment for precise measuring and such, can be crafted by your hands will serve as a fine replacement. I shall provide you with all materials you need. I'll make them the best I can, but as they say, here the tools do not make the man. Or in this case, the Yokoi. That would be on your debt. Once you finish, you can bring them to me and I'll work back as soon as I can. For no reason whatsoever, we're going to do it this way. It doesn't need to be high quality. In fact, I think it gets defaulted to normal once I complete it, but still... yeah. So long as your skill backs it up, these should be fine. What do you have there? Might I take a closer look? Somehow I stitched them together with weaver's tools, even though you'd think this would be more of a carpentry or blacksmithing thing. Ah, this is masterful work indeed. Then again, given they are all giants, it might even be worthwhile to have used armorer. Even better than what I had before, in fact. Farfar was right to put her trust in you, and I shall follow suit. Now, it should be good to I should make good on my promise to get back to it. The workshop I build should be worthy of these splendid tools. Ah, wonderful. Nothing's more encouraging than seeing an artisan so eager to test his new equipment. Thank you, Coda. I must return to the shelter to attend my own work, but please stop by a chat when you have a free moment. Well, I have to in order to finish the quest, my friend. But yeah, even when I got all this, I'm gonna be honest, I just got this stuff either from the scripts or from the market board. It was probably spent a lot more than I should have, if we're completely honest. Oh well. I'm overjoyed he's returned. His absence would have been sorely felt. In fact, I'm beginning to think his ordeal was a blessing in disguise, for he works with more zeal than before. I was even able to tell the story of a story of a time with Dartagor, and in doing so, give her the chance to lend some strength to the present. Nothing could make me happier. Well, it's good that she was able to forge a path for which we could walk after. Nice, we're actually building this place up. One thing I did mention that I did, at least one thing I did like about the, not just cosmic exploration. Now we can make some traditional stonework here. We can use it to in the buildings we repair as well. With each brick laid, we draw one step closer to completion. The patterns you see are among the oldest used by our people. Many depict scenes of us living side by side with the snow spirits, and making them has been quite the educational experience. I only hope that Dartagor is proud of the progress we've made. I shall continue to work and learn for Dartagor's sake. I encourage you to do the same, Coda. If I hadn't maxed out all my crafting jobs, I would have absolutely used them here. The construction has been completed, allowing for the creation of traditional stonework. Yeah, stone stuff is built to last. Reputation up. New daily quests are available. I can undertake 3 more. Wider selection of wares as well. Winter's warmth. Let's see, what's the ward exchange available now? Snowflake Rollick. That's for the area there. I guess I'd best save up for the inevitable mountain minion and, what's it called? The, you know, the things for the adventure plate. Easy. Worth their salt. Might as well do some of these while we're here. Gaze upon the snowy peaks. The preservation of our stonework has been paramount since time immemorial. Well, and the methods of doing them are passed down to generations. One is through melting salts. We regularly spread them around the stones, lest their edges crack and dull from bitter cold. It's proven vital to the restoration as we seek extra pairs of hands. If you wish to lend yours, a stonekeeper can apprise you of details. Trail Fix has a vision for 0 accidents on the mountain. Coda, I'm glad to report the operations workshop are proceeding apace with ample deliveries arriving from Warlord's Echo. Yet these deliveries must take a treacherous path. One slip of the foot could meet an untimely end, and with trail growing busier, I believe it's high time we endeavor to prevent them. Could ask your assistance preparing the supplies. Working hard. Late again. Oh, Coda, some workers are gathering materials at Shades of Grief, yet to return. I'm impressed upon their importance, yet, as an added incentive, I had a fresh batch of char, a warming stew, much loved. I suspect a hot meal will make them forget their task a few brief moments. Can I trouble you to visit them? Alright, he's a... Part of the repairs will be covering parts of the trail with fabric that reduces slips and falls. It would be much appreciated if you could protection. Oh, wonderful. That's perfect, actually. Trail Fix. We're already going with high quality. Well, thankfully, I've got this a bit easier. Trained Eye is honestly probably a mistake they really should not have released, because, it really makes these recipes way too easy to make high quality. But at the same time, I can't say I don't appreciate the ability to just fix all these problems. Yeah, at the same time, I can't deny that I appreciate being able to easily fix old, outdated content that would be way too easy normally anyways. Kind of like I kind of wish how some JRPGs nowadays would have the Earthbound thing where you could skip battles that you're very clearly too strong for. I imagine there's a good reason for it though, but then again, maybe not. Hard to say. With a lot of newer RPGs, JRPGs, it can be hard to tell if some things are there deliberately or because, well, the old JRPGs had it, so we need to have it too without realizing why those existed. Then again, I guess all genres have had stuff like that. I can't tell you how many MMOs had old stuff, either sometimes from Warcraft, sometimes even further, but they didn't really understand the reason why those were existed, so they just kind of, right, I have to say. Did someone say Cairo? Oh, my favorite. We can't get enough of it. Cut me open, I dare say I'd bleed, Cairo. I must return, the pot's warm. Thank you, friend. Yeah, I do like seeing these things built up. One thing I do like about whether it's Cosmic Exploration, Doma Restoration, Ishgard Restoration, although I suppose those were player-driven. Although, at least I guess some like these quests, as well as Dome and Restoration, players can at least experience them at their pace, since you technically progress that by progressing the little story with them. But, Ishgard Restoration, Idleshire, Mordona, and even, Cosmic Exploration now, those are all one-time things that you can only ever see the upgrades as they happen. Granted, they finally started doing a flyby recording with Cosmic Exploration, so anyone who comes late can at least see how it grew, but all the others I mentioned don't have that. Not even Dome and Restoration, though again, the player gets to do that one at their pace. But it does feel nice all the same. I don't know, it just feels like the expansion would be missing something if it doesn't have that, even if it is a one-time situation. Whoa, I nearly jumped out of my skin! I mean, apologies, I did not notice you approached. I hear you mentioned Cairo. Long last time for my break, I feel all the more rested after a hot meal. With Napoli providing us so many different ingredients and spices, people are experimenting with new recipes. I wonder what it's doing today. Though I can't deny that this does feel like it's a better handled version of the Kazumooka storyline of the main one. Maybe, I'm just overthinking it. Plus, it's not as direct as the, say, the Mamulja one, where it felt like, okay, this seems to be a bit of a do-over of that one, and was handled better, blunt. I guess I'm worrying too much. The only reason this area existed was, well, first of all, to have an excuse for Valley Garmonda for the purposes of the trial fight, and to foreshadow things for the Alexandria storyline. What am I saying? I don't want to go on that rant yet again. Especially since, again, this one actually seems to be handled. This one's not a direct sequel or redo, so I don't have to worry about that as much. Although I will say it does seem to be continuing that the crafting and gathering reputation quests seem to have better writing than the combat one. Like I mentioned last time, it does feel like even as far back as Shadowbringers, those were not nearly as written well. Like, don't get me wrong, I do appreciate the Pixies having that neat little playground area, but I can't for the life of me remember any of the story tied to it. And if we go back into Stormblood, I can't remember the Ninja Turtles, because that one had a very disappointing ending. I'm glad I was able to at least my character remember when everyone else forgot, but it's the reason I was disappointed when I was almost terrified about the memory erasure thing in Limbus Company, because what's the point of going through all that character development if everything around it just gets deleted and the character's all reset to beforehand? What purpose does it serve then? It'd be one thing if it was a what-if story to explain of some sort, maybe, to see, or something that is okay with just exploring that world, or something that explores the character development, but I don't know. I'm just glad it didn't, at least. But yeah, the Stormblood Ninja Turtle one, I also remember because the ending was kind of disappointing with everyone just forgetting it at the end. Oh, your timing couldn't be better. The work's simple. For your part, just scatter these along the warmth. I'll take care of the other areas. Right. Luckily, the Limbus one did not go with a full erasure, though. And, huh. Yeah, none to the snake folk, I don't remember, unfortunately, the story at all. Now, let's see here. What was that one? The Namazu? I do remember that one, but that's because I thought it was genuinely really funny. But I guess to be fair, when it comes to comedy ones like that one, you're typically going to either love it and remember it, or you're going to hate it and despise every moment. Though I suppose one could argue, mix of rock salt and local ingredients to prevent the accumulation of ice and snow on Yokoi stonework. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the issue with comedy. It's usually either gonna hit home and you'll love it, or you'll hate every single moment of it. I mean, that's also true of the Hildebrand storyline, which is going on right now in Dawn Trail, but I'm waiting until the end to do it all at once, like I did with all previous expansions, as there's been one in every expansion except for Shadowbringers. Yeah, unfortunately, Shadowbringers being hit when COVID hit, you're gonna notice a lot of things are going to be every expansion except for Shadowbringers. Not to say they didn't introduce some good stuff, but you can definitely tell they had to make a lot of budget cuts there. Even the open area Bozja ended up having a lot of recolored enemies because you could tell they were had to cut back a lot more than they were hoping for. Very unfortunate, but also understandable. Heard you're spreading melting salts. The Stonekeeper and I appreciate your work. As he tells that they procured a healthy supply from Shorgar Sultar. He's such brave to consort with the dangerous folk, but that fearless attitude is the merchant. In any event, fresh snowfall is inevitable, so I no doubt we'll need to be again before long. Rest assured, the repairs will be held in the same high standard. Accidents can go unnoticed for too long in snowy terrain, and in many cases, the injured are beyond safe by the time they're found. All the more reason to prevent such situations in the first place. And for those traveling the path ultimately responsible for their own safety, must do all they can to reduce the risks they face. The restoration's arduous work, to be sure, but they aren't or want to overexert themselves. Though Cairo started as a simple way to encourage more breaks, I must say it turned into quite a culinary adventure. Of late, I've been experimenting with different meats, spices to create different, rejuvenating meal possible. Several have provided quite the hint to workers. At this rate, I'll be opening my own eatery. Even so, I suspect our workers may continue to neglect breaks without someone to remind them. I may count on your help to round them out. Pop again. I kind of hope I unlock new recipes as I go here. That'd be nice. Actually, did I unlock a new recipe? Let's check. Cooking. Doesn't look like it. Carne asada taco is delicious. Wait, what are... Tenacity. That's disappointing. A delicious type of taco is tenacity. Don't get me wrong, tenacity's not bad. In fact, it's actually been reasonably buffed pretty well. If you stack it, you can basically get a permanent rampart active as a tank, which is kind of nice. But it also doesn't give nearly as much damage as the others, and since the game is so damage heavy, it's going to be hard to justify for a lot of the time unless you're specifically trying to hit a threshold. I guess kind of like skill speed in that aspect. Anyways, let's see here. Dies. Steal, class quests. Huh. Yes, class quests for the crafting jobs ended after Stormblood, just like all the others. It's a shame, but I think I don't know if they have their own... Actually, I don't think they have their own role quest, because I don't remember seeing any here. Or at least none that came to mind. I guess I could check later, but I don't think it has any, unfortunately. It has other things like the cosmic exploration stuff. Well, I'm not... Unfortunately, I am not... Culinarian, yeah. Unfortunately, I am not master recipes. Others, no. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm not seeing any new things here. Ooh, bubble tea. I had a boba tea at a festival once and discovered it's a new favorite. It is very, very good. No wonder it's so popular. Yeah, I'm not seeing the thing. Yeah, I didn't see the ones we made. That's a shame. I was kind of hoping we'd earn a new recipe. I guess you do get a housing item with it, but I was kind of hoping I could craft it myself. as some of them in the past have unlocked new crafting recipes for the... Well, they could add it in a later update. They have actually been adding quite a few things in updates, so I guess we could see. Yeah. Plus, there's plenty of time. There's at least 2 major patches, at least 3 minor patches between... at least 3 or 4 minor ones in those, and basically we're at least a little over a year out from the next expansion, so there's definitely a lot of time to see what's going on here. And there's definitely a lot that's still left, because I know the final addition to whatever is going to be for a lot of these is going to be quite notable, especially the Master Reputation quest for completing all of these. I've gotten that every expansion, because again, it's one of those things that's in every expansion except Shadowbringers. So that's gonna be kind of nice to see. They're usually just fun, but at the same time, it's nice seeing all of their hard work pay off. But that's going to be all for now. Until next time, thank you for watching. Hope you had a good time, and I'll see you later.